Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Across the NFL here on Huddle Breakdown. It's episode 6 of Across the NFL. We'll take a look at last week's game against the Houston Texans. We'll look across the NFL at stats and scores. We'll look to next week's game against the Detroit Lions, and we will also get a trade done in this episode. We'll start here in the first quarter. It's a read option from Deshaun Watson, who ate us alive on the read options. That's tough to articulate, obviously, in Madden, to keep your linemen out there. Keep contain. Obviously, it doesn't happen there. An easy touchdown. Here's a fourth down play across the middle, and I'm only looking at Tyler Eifert here. Luckily, he was open. We'll get the easy first down on fourth down. This next play, though, this one is a little disappointing for us defensively. We're going to slow it down here. We're really going to dissect this play. So the play call here is cover 4. So it's a cover 4 play call. So these guys are all dropping back into coverage. And their jobs is to take the deepest guy, right? You're splitting it into quarters. Now, the problem is this corner doesn't follow Will Fuller down the field. We'll see it on when we go forward. But he doesn't follow him down the field. What should happen is these three guys here got the underneath routes. But when we're calling this to make sure we don't give up the deep routes. Right? That's why we call it. So all this field back here, as I clicked the wrong button, all this field back here should be covered easy. But instead, our corner comes down. You see, he started to follow him. Now he's going to come off the route and come down for this guy, which doesn't make sense. So then that leads this safety one-on-one with Will Fuller back here, and that's a good luck scenario for the safety. There's no chance that they're going to win that battle. So a disappointing play there before the end of the first half to give up a touchdown instead of a field goal. Now later in the game, this is a 3rd and 16, and it's a sack fumble, and this is when the game really changed from bad to worse in the second half. I'm trying to throw the football away. He's just about to throw it. I clicked the throwaway motion. You can kind of tell he's starting to move his arm forward. Obviously, it's clearly a fumble, but he just kind of lets the ball go, which was unfortunate there. Here we go later in the third, and a couple more bad plays here by Gardner Minshew. A couple inaccurate passes that hurt us last week. There was a couple, and here there was more this week. This one he's way off his target there. Here's who we're trying to throw to. We're trying to throw to Chenault there, but he's way off his target there. It looked like he was almost throwing to Chark. Here he redeems himself, though, with a beautiful throw across the middle to Laviska Shenault. It should have really been intercepted by Reed there. You see it. Somehow it squeezed in and gave us a little life here in the fourth quarter, although we obviously know what happens down the stretch in this game. Here's another play in the fourth quarter, and this one's just a bad decision on my part, trying to throw to the receiver there, and obviously he looks open now, but I don't like comeback routes in Madden, and as you see, as the season goes on, I rarely ever call this again because of this particular play. It's just hard to get the timing down, and an easy interception there, a really game-changing, game-ending interception for us. Here was the official game end. Deshaun Watson run on a read option. It was kind of fitting that we lost the game officially on a read option, as he almost took it to the house on us there. We'll now look at some scores across the NFL. We'll start in the Windy City, where the Bears lose big to Tampa Bay 26-0. Trubisky, obviously no touchdowns on the day, did have an interception. On the other side, Brady, 2 touchdowns, throwing one of those to Mike Evans. But the last time the Bucs started a season 5-0, you have to go all the way back to 1997, when Tony Dungy was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here, it's Bruce Arians. He's got him to 5-0 with a 26-0 win. In Atlanta, where the Falcons win 35-14 against the Panthers, Matt Ryan, 4 touchdowns, throwing 2 to Julio Jones. On the other side, Bridgewater, a touchdown and an interception. Christian McCaffrey couldn't break the 100-yard mark, but did have a touchdown. The Falcons score 7 points in all 4 quarters of the game to get the 35-14 win. Down in Washington, where the Rams pull out a close one against Washington in overtime, 34-28. Goff, 3 touchdowns. Josh Reynolds had a good day, 7 for 142. On the other side, Haskins, 2 touchdowns, throwing the 2 to Steven Sims, who had a phenomenal day in his own right, 10 for 173 and those 2 touchdowns. The Rams outscore Washington 21-11 in the 4th quarter to push it to overtime. Then they go right down, score 7 in overtime, and get the 34-28 win. Down in Tennessee, where the Bills get a win, 20-17. Josh Allen, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions on the day. Stephon Diggs, finding his new home, is working out well for him. 8 for 121 and a touchdown. On the other side, Tannehill, a touchdown and a pick. Adam Humphries, 8 for 155 and a touchdown. The Bills get back in the win column here today. But on the other side, Stephen Gostkowski and the Titans are having some kicking troubles. He was 1 for 3 on field goals today, and obviously you see the score there, making both of those would have gotten them the win. Instead, they lose 20-17. Down in Pittsburgh, where we have another undefeated team, 31-28, the Steelers win on top of the Eagles. Big Ben, 3 touchdowns, throwing those 3 to Deontay Johnson. On the other side, Carson Wentz had 3 touchdowns, but he did have an interception. For the Steelers, James Conner also had 16 for 121 and a rushing touchdown, as they get the 31-28 win. In New York, where the Jets get their first win on the season, 28-23. Sam Darnold, 3 touchdowns. Chris Hogan, 7 for 129 and 2 touchdowns. Kyler Murray, 2 touchdowns, throwing 1 to Christian Kirk. It was a 77-yard catch and run for the touchdown. But the Jets get their first win on the season, holding off the Cardinals as they had a 13-point 4th quarter comeback, but it wasn't enough. The Jets get the 28-13 win. Now down in Baltimore, where the Bengals, the final undefeated team here in the National Football League, they win 28-14. Joe Burrow, 3 touchdowns, did have an interception. Joe Mixon had a good day. On the other side, Jackson had 2 touchdowns, but weird stats for the Ravens, just a weird day overall. J.K. Dobbins, the rookie, had 2 rushing attempts, no yards, but he was their leading receiver. 3 for 61 yards catching. The Ravens also just had 2 third-down conversions on the entire day. It was a weird day for them. They lose 28-14. Down in Kansas City, where the Chiefs still just have 1 win on the season, they lose 24-21 to the Raiders. Derek Carr with a touchdown. It was thrown to Nelson Aguilar. On the other side, Mahomes threw 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a strange day for him there. Both teams in the AFC Championship game from a season ago have started the season with a combined record of 2-8. Think on that stat. The Raiders get a much-needed win. They improve to 2-3, the 24-21 win on top of the Chiefs. Down in New England, where the Patriots bounce back in a close one against Denver, 38-30. Colin Kaepernick threw for 3 touchdowns. Lindsey had a good day. On the other side, Cam Newton, his best day as a Patriot. 4 touchdowns, no picks, throwing 2 to Jacoby Myers, and the Patriots get back above 500. They win 38-30. Down in San Francisco, where the Dolphins get their first win on the season and hand the 49ers their first loss. Tua throws for 2 touchdowns and a pick, and his first win as an NFL starter. Jakeem Grant had 11 catches for 155 yards. On the other side, Garoppolo played good. So did Deebo Samuel, 14 for 146, 2 touchdowns. The only 2 Garoppolo threw all day, but it wasn't enough. The 49ers fall, and the Dolphins get their first win on the season, 27-21. In Jerry World, where the Cowboys fall again to the Giants, 31-28. Daniel Jones had 2 touchdowns. Dak Prescott just 1, but Zeke had 2 touchdowns rushing. But the last time a team in the National Football League has started 1-4 and made the playoffs, you have to go all the way back to 2011. That is the Denver Broncos and Tim Tebow. Odds not looking good for the Cowboys and the playoffs, but on the other side, the Giants take the division lead in the NFC East. In Cleveland, where the Browns get their 3rd win in a row, 21-14 on top of the Colts. Philip Rivers, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Baker Mayfield, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and that one turnover by Philip Rivers seemed to be the difference as the Colts fall 21-14 down in Seattle, where the Seahawks lose again, this time to the Minnesota Vikings 20-17. Russell Wilson, 2 touchdowns, an interception, throwing one of those touchdowns to Tyler Lockett. On the other side, Kirk Cousins, 2 touchdowns, did have an interception as well. Justin Jefferson, 5 for 75, and caught one of Kirk's 2 touchdowns. The Vikings have now won 4 straight with sole possession of the NFC North. They win 20-17. And in the final game in Week 5, it was a blowout. The Saints win 38-13 on top of the Chargers as they fall 3 straight. Herbert, no touchdowns, no picks. Keenan Allen had a solid day, but obviously not enough points for the Chargers offense. On the other side, Drew Brees, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and Alvin Kamara had a very special day. 17 for 141 and 2 touchdowns. They get the win. 2 wins in a row now for the Saints. They win 38-13. We'll turn our attention now to the draft, and we'll look at some defensive tackles here today, as I think this class is pretty strong at defensive tackle. We just ran into a couple mediocre players there, but it gets stronger as we go down. We're going to look now at the wide receiver, and through some evaluations, I think we're going to try to trade away Chris Conley. I like what he brings to the team, but he's on a 1-year deal, and I'm not looking to re-sign him, so I think we will make a move to try and trade him away. And the team that we're going to trade him away to is the New Orleans Saints for Zach Bond. Rookie, left outside linebacker from Wisconsin. He's got good speed, pretty good tackling, solid hip power. I think he could be a decent linebacker for us. We're going to make the trade. We'll also get a 4th-round pick for next year's class. So we're also going to move him to middle linebacker. So he will be behind Joe Schobert, and they may split reps. We'll just kind of see how the season goes on, as actually those 2 starting middle linebackers now are both from Wisconsin with Joe Schobert and Zach Bond. Also look at defensive line, and particularly defensive tackle. Adam Gottis is going to get released by us, and that'll free up some other moves for us to make, as we're going to sign Trent Sherfield from the practice squad. Good speed, good catching, not great route running, but I like him, and I think he could be a good replacement for Chris Conley this year. Next week we play the Detroit Lions. Should be a good game. There you see Danny Amendola had a great game against the New Orleans Saints, who we actually just traded. We just did that trade with. But the Lions next week should be an exciting game. The injury report, nothing new for the Jaguars. On the other side, for Detroit, some injuries, but nothing too severe for the team. Highest injured player is Geronimo Allison, who is a backup wide receiver. We thank you for watching today's episode of Across the NFL here on Huddle Breakdown. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the video, and we will see you around at the next Huddle Breakdown.